There are two assets which we use for thousands of years, and perhaps 7,000 years we've been using these assets, and they are gold and silver. If we find a piece of gold or silver that was being used 7,000 years ago, they still have fundamental value, and you can still sell them in the same price as if you found them today. Think about it. There were many empires, and none of them did actually last to this day. They all had currency, and we believe these countries will prevail, so we put our trust in them. Therefore, we put our trust in their money. So we have the fiat currencies. What is a fiat currency? I'm saying the fiat currency is something we believe that paper has an inherent value, because the paper is being backed by a government, by a military power, and by a rain. So when some government back their money, we call them fiat currency, because we believe that paper do have an value, but that paper does not actually have an inherent value. So what is an inherent value? If you did sell your gold or silver, that rock, let's call them rock, that piece of rock has an inherent value. You can sell it anywhere in the world, anytime in the world, and the price will not change. So gold and silver have fundamental value, and they are independent from the governments. They are independent from the governments. So therefore, they have fundamental and inherent value, which fiat currencies like Japanese yen, like Great British pound, or like United States dollar, Aussie dollar, they do not have an inherent value. They have a value because we believe that they have a value, and they have a value because the military supports them, supports the Federal Reserve, supports the central bank. So therefore, they actually have a value, but they don't have an inherent value. So gold and silver will most likely rise because there is a serious inflation all over the globe, and the central banks of the world are a little bit too late to increase interest rates. So therefore, this will be resulting in the prices of that gold and silver to grow. They can't go and make cryptocurrency grow because there will be a shortage of money in the market. The stock markets cannot exponentially grow because the Federal Reserve and other central banks will actually take the money to the banks out of the market, out of the system. So money will be rare, and without a support of money system, the stock will go down. But the gold and silver, these rocks, didn't actually make a profit yet, and there's a serious inflation around the globe, and they are some pieces which people actually believed they have value. People believed they are the real money because they can store it, because they do not take damage. If they, let's say, if they did stand for 1,000 years, they will still be the same, undamaged, and they will still have an inherent value. And actually, 1 kilogram of gold has some kind of 62,000 of dollars. Imagine you are carrying a 1 kilo gold bar, and imagine you are carrying $62,000 with you. It's actually pretty easy to compare. It's very, very easy to compare. Even if the dollar is 100 bills, all of them, you still have 620 bills to carry, and it's very hard and it's actually pretty much dangerous. So let's look at this side. Gold and silver are being used by the Eastern countries, and they are developing gold and silver, they are stacking gold and silver, and also United States stacks gold and silver in the Federal Reserve. And by stacking gold and silver, they hope to increase the value of their country's money. Like Russia said, I will give 5,000 rubles for 1 gram of gold. And the ratio United States dollar to Russian ruble was at 120 rubles per dollar when he said that, and now it is something around 75 rubles per dollar. So it's actually insane. The Russian ruble did actually earn value even if there is a war, because Russia pegged the ruble to actual gold. And we hear the Pakistan actually taking 500 kilograms of gold out of the system, which we will be seeing the prices of gold will almost definitely, almost 100% will be rising in 2022. It's very important to realize this because there is a serious environment of inflation, and if you hope to preserve your wealth, you should definitely buy some physical gold or silver, which I strongly recommend, because if you don't buy physical, you will be buying the gold and silver by the stocks, and they will just look as if you bought them, but you will not actually hold them. So just think about it. The Canada did block people's money and assets, the opposition's money and assets, and who is to say this will not happen to you in the future? Think about it. The Western countries actually froze the Russian assets, which is in the computers, and Russia had nothing to do about it. They couldn't do anything to prevent it because they are on a screen. They cannot control it. But if you own the physical thing, then you actually can control your finance. And when the internet crash, or when someone decides you shouldn't be controlling your money and blocks your system, your application, bank applications, there is nothing you can do about it. Just think about Argentina, just think about Venezuela, and think about what actually happened there. Read about it, because it's very important, and you actually can be the next victim here. In order to protect yourself from being the next victim, you should own some physical assets, and I strongly recommend you to own physical silver and gold. And I'm heavily biased on silver because it's immensely cheap, and due to this inflative environment, every single stock, currency, commodity made a peak, with one exception, and that is silver. Silver still did not make a peak, and I think after the nickel actually made a serious rush, and it seriously rise the price of nickel. And who's to say silver will not be doing the exact same thing, because the price is so cheap, and the institutions, some of the major bank institutions which actually shape the financial environment, are shorting the silver in order to keep gold from moving up, because their very system depends on the fiat currencies, and they make profit. They use leverage, some kind of leverage, 1 to 33, and it's horrible. I think they will do anything for people to not lose their belief in the fiat currency. But the damage is done, the world is changing, and you shouldn't be at the losing side. Just think about it, make your own research. I urge you to have a detailed research about this subject, and you will be at the same conclusion as I am. I'll get to see you in the next video. Goodbye.